Hi, how are you? This is Anthony from Cypher House Escape, and I'm back with another puzzle from the Red Dot Hunt. So today, we're doing puzzle number 2 from the Red Dot Hunt. The puzzle title is Evidence Without Weight. So we're going to have to, in a similar form to what we did last time, we're going to have to try to solve the clues and the puzzle that's given to us to figure out a final word as our solution. So let's take a look at what we got here today. You're sure that if you put the pieces in roughly the right places, you'll get a clearer picture of this case. So we have a 16 by 16 grid separated into 4 by 4 sections. And then what do we have down here? Okay, we have a bunch of 2 by 2 pieces. There are a lot of 2 by 2 pieces. And each one has a description after it. Let's just read through a couple of these. General preposition of place. Okay. Real coordinate space of n dimensions. Okay. One of my go-to pieces of advice in puzzle hunts is to start counting things. Each of these groupings of 2 by 2 squares can fully fill in one of these 4 by 4 squares up here. So we should have a total of 16 groups here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 15, and 16. Good. So we just have to figure out how all of these pieces go into the grid. And of course, some of these squares are left blank and some of them are shaded in. So we're probably going to get some interesting picture once we fill in this grid. The question is, how do these pieces fit into the grid? I'm guessing that that's where these clues come into place. Okay, so I've copied all of the clues from the Red Dot Hunt site over to this PowerPoint. So these are all the clues on the site, and I've brought them over here. So let's go through and start solving some of these clues here. I'm going to go through and kind of pick the ones that stand out to me as easiest. So like Al Pacino, I'm pretty sure was the Godfather. It is very okay to use the internet and Google in puzzle hunts. Okay, so let's look up blood type with anti-A antibodies only. Okay, so according to this chart, anti-A comes in type B blood. So the answer to this one is just B. Which is interesting. So going through and just entering in my answers for this first set, we see that every answer is either 1 or 2 letters. At least so it seems. Now it's possible I have something in this set wrong. These are just kind of the most intuitive answers for me, but sometimes these clues can be a little bit cryptic to decipher. So I'm going to go through and try to answer as many of these sets as I can, and then see if I can discern how these letters are chosen. So I was able to decipher all of the clues on my first slide. These clues are actually fairly easy to decipher. Like, just typing them directly into Google is giving me most of them pretty straightforwardly. So that's actually really nice. Typically in puzzle hunts, clues can get really, really cryptic and hard to decipher. And I've never been great at deciphering clues, so I appreciate how simple it is to find most of these solutions. Okay, so I've solved most of the clues here, and it looks like they're all 1 or 2 letters for the answer. And then what I've done is I've moved those over, so these were grouped in groups of 4. And I believe those are going to make up a 4 by 4 grouping in the final grid. So I've grouped these letter combinations in an Excel document in this way so that I can try to move these around a little bit. We should also keep the other clues that the puzzle gives us in mind. So the title is Evidence Without Weight. So evidence plays into the overall theme of the hunt, which is an investigation, like a mystery kind of thing. But weight feels like a strategically chosen word that has to do with something in the puzzle. And we also have, you're sure that if you put the pieces in roughly the right places, you'll get a clearer picture of this case. Okay, so I've been staring at these letter combinations, and slowly things started to stand out to me. I realized that all of these single lettered values looked very familiar to me. And several of these double lettered values looked familiar to me as well. Some of them seemed very strange, like this ZR in particular. I couldn't figure out what that was, but I soon realized that these are all elements on the periodic table. I believe in the puzzle, things like weight refer to atomic weight, and the fact that this says you need to put the pieces in roughly the right spaces means the periodic table doesn't look like a 16 by 16 grid at first glance, but if you kind of roughly put things in the correct places, we might be able to make it that way. So we don't have just an H for hydrogen anywhere within our answers, but we do have Li, Be, Na, and Mg, and in fact they're all right here. I reconstructed the periodic table here from the 2x2 groupings that we had found before. I had to switch around some of their positions and of course place them correctly within the periodic table, but they all fit in pretty nicely. I realized a couple of mistakes, but for the most part everything was correct. It matches up with our periodic table here. These two elements at the bottom have officially been given names since this periodic table was created, so they now have their own abbreviations as well. The yellow sections here are just elements that we don't have within the answers to the problems that we were given. So, the next thing that we have to do is approximately fit these into a 16 by 16 grid. And to me it seems pretty easy to just grab things like this and just scooch them over to the left. To just grab things and move them over, because we have the same number of these in each row. So if I keep just moving everything over here, and kind of just uncolor what's left of my periodic table, I'm left with a pretty nice grouping of elements here. So I think the next step is to just start shading in our 16 by 16 grid based on the position of these pieces. So like we'll find Li. Li is here, and so I need to shade in these three cells. Here, here, and here for Li. So I filled in half of the elements so far, half of the pieces that we need. So we're starting to form words here. You can see we have salt with something. So I still have to do this bottom 4 rows of elements, but it's looking like this is going to be correct. So with everything filled in, we have a phrase salt with Cn minus anion. So I'm just going to try searching that. Ooh, that gives us cyanide. So it would appear that cyanide is going to be the final answer to our puzzle. Let's take a look. Correct. Elementary, I hope. I really like these puns that they put at the end of each of the puzzles. So that was puzzle number 2, Evidence Without Weight from the Red Dot Hunt 2018. Special thanks to the Red Dot team for designing this great puzzle and giving us permission to post this video. If you're interested in this puzzle from the Red Dot team or any of the other puzzles they've created, you can check out the links in the description below. Let us know your thoughts on this puzzle or if there's anything else that you'd like to see us create in the future. And as always, happy escaping!